What's up, my beautiful people? Welcome to another episode of the Be Original Show. I'm your host, Kevin Oriole, aka DJ KO Yo, broadcasting from the Bundy Museum radio station located in downtown Binghamton, New York. Tonight, we have a veteran songwriter, performer, and all-around hellraiser from the Binghamton area. Whether he is performing at a backyard barbecue or with a full band on the biggest area stages, my guest is a country legend in the Triple Cities. Tonight we have Tim Ruffo in the studio, and we'll hear how he came up, his music, and what the future holds for him. But before we get started, let's listen to one of Tim's songs, which is the title track of Tim O'Hearn's feature film, Showdown in Yesteryear, which is streaming on Amazon, Vudu, Spectrum, and Redbox. This is Showdown by Tim Ruffo, right here on the Bundy Museum Community Radio Show, Be Original.
He's locked up in a room with the devil.
Man, that's pretty cool to be involved in the movie and having the title song. How did that come out? How did that come about?
Well, I'd known Tim O'Hearn from Mansion Audio, because both of our bands had recorded there before, so we were familiar with each other's work musically. And Tim was making this movie, and they were looking for a song. Like a title song for the movie, something to play with the credits going up at the end, and they were kind of batting zero. So he reached out and he said, "Hey, you want to try to write something for this?" So I said, "Well, give me an idea what it's all about," And he sent me a clip of like the last 3 minutes or so of the movie, and a quick synopsis about what the movie is about this guy that's on the verge of suicide and having a hard time in life, and finds this door in a field and goes through it and ends up going back in time into the Old West. So he gave me, the clip of the guy was what really sold me on writing it, because he really looked desperate, and he looked like, and then he gets into the scenes, into the character. And so I said, I'm gonna just write what comes to my head, about that, and about doing battle with the devil and doing battle with your demons and, rising above and overcoming. So Showdown that's what came out of it. And it was fun.
It's a great song. Now, you started off the song kind of slow and like really retrospective of, like dealing with the devil. And then it kind of kicks up. Like, what made you go with that choice of switching it up at that point?
Well, all in all, it is like a traditional Western. There's shootouts and, horses and all kinds of stuff going on like that. Just, actually in the music video, I got to break a bottle over somebody's head.
I saw that.
So
I didn't know that was you, but I saw that scene where that must have been great.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. They even let me have a gun for a while. Yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, I mean, I figured it's got to start out with the tone of, a little bit of desperation and things like that, but then it's got to take off. So I had Chad Dean come in on the drums with a nice drum roll into it to get into something that was more like a horse riding,
Right.
So that was out of transition.
And who else played on that track?
I had Chad Dean on the drums. I had Tom Westcott on the bass, and me on the acoustic guitar.
Now, there's a lot of strings in that track.
That was something that they put on. Tim had a friend that did it. I'm struggling for his name. You caught me on one.
No, that's okay. That's all right. We'll get him.
But yeah, he laid some strings down. We took it all to Mansion Audio, and Jeff DeBella mixed it, and we've add a little bit of color on it there as well. With some different stuff that Jeff had to offer. But
and who did the guitar fills in there?
That was all me.
Oh, that's great. Oh, I didn't know that you lead soloed like that. It's a really flavorful song. Now, how is it doing as far as views or hits or feedback that you've gotten?
I don't pay much attention to the views or hits, honestly. I do like when I travel somewhere and somebody says, "Hey, is that Showdown?" Yeah, I like that. So I think it's being received well. I mean, the biggest thing of the movie got picked up. It got a distribution deal. So
it's streaming, right?
That's huge. That's huge for them. That's a really good thing. And I think Tim told me that the actual video play, the YouTube video, has some great numbers as well.
That's really great.
So
well, good for you. So you said when you're playing around, are you gigging right now? I know it's wintertime, but
yeah, mostly local right now.
Okay.
I've got the North Brewery with my son Nick this Friday, and Casey Little and the Tiny Giants, all at North Brew from 6 to 9 on Friday evening.
Awesome.
So, and then I think there's a Barley Corn. There's a few local gigs I got coming up.
Okay. Let's talk about the last record that you put out, which was Modern Day Outlaw. Let's play a track from that first, and then we'll get into it. Is that cool?
Sounds good.
All right. This is Got Nothing right here on WBDY 99.5 FM, Be Original.
My original notes were when I was really down one day and I was thinking about, I don't have this, I don't have that, you know, and man, I'd really like this, I really like that, you know, whatever those things are, you know. And I thought, well, you really got to pay attention to what you have, you know. So the things that you don't have might be a blessing in disguise too, you know. So I got nothing, you know, depicts, well, geez, I got nothing for you, and I got nothing to worry about. You know, so it's mostly like about finding the things to be grateful for.
Right, looking at it in a positive way.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So when did you put that album out?
That was 5 years ago now. I think that Modern Day Outlaw came out.
Okay. And was there a concept behind it when you put it out, or where were you as far as your career and where you were personally? With that record, because it feels like you've come through the lyrics. It feels like you came to a certain point. Maybe that's kind of what I'm guessing at. But you let me know.
Well, Modern Day Outlaw was a little bit more of a concept than previous works, and I think that maybe I had matured a little bit along the way as far as how I wanted to write songs. One of the things I did was I didn't have a producer. I basically used my own production, my son Nick's production, and Chad Dean's production. So I brought the concepts to them, brought songs to them, and then as we were recording, things kind of evolved into a bit of an order. So, and I'd been known as a country artist, but I play more of the older style country, more of a traditional style of country when I'm playing cover shows. So I didn't really want to write anything that was like the mainstream pop country right now.
Right.
So I took a turn, I've got the song Modern Day Outlaw actually has horns on it, things like that. There's a lot of different things than you would see in a Brad Paisley album or, Jamie Johnson, anybody that's that's popular. So I didn't really do it to try to hit, that audience.
Right. You didn't want to necessarily
it was more like just these are songs that I've been working on through the years that I had ideas. I got stacks of old notebooks. Just started going through stuff and thinking about, what I liked and what resonated with me now at this stage of my life. And those were all of those songs came from all of those old journals, all those old writings.
So where did music start for you?
I started with a piano when I was probably 8 years old, I want to say.
Musical family?
My mom played guitar, gospel bands, stuff like that.
Really?
And my dad sang, that was their thing. Okay. My uncle played in a band called Prime Time years ago. There was a local country band.
All right.
So yeah, we had music around us. My parents, when we were kids, musicians practicing in the basement, all the time. So
so you grew
so
up,
we were exposed to
it was all around you.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And now I read in your bio that you went to the military.
Yeah, I served in the Air Force right out of high school.
Right out of high school. What prompted you to go that way?
My dad pushing. Basically, he said, what are you going to do when you graduate high school? I said, I don't know. And he said, wrong answer. So he said, you're either going to go to college or you're going to go in the military.
Okay.
And I said, well, all right, well, maybe I'll check out college. And he said, where are you going to live? Okay. He said, military. He said, they'll pay for 75% of your college.
Right.
He was in the Air Force, so he recommended it. So I signed up. Went.
And how did that go for you?
I did my whole tour up in Alaska, which when I saw that I got Alaska, I was like, what?
So you don't decide where you're going to go.
You can request, but good luck. They're going to send you where they need you.
So you were in Alaska for what, 4 years?
4 years, yeah.
Wow.
I actually wrote down UK, and when I got my orders, it said AK, and I'm with these other guys, and I'm going,
Where are we going?
Where's AK? Where's AK? I want to go to UK. And they said, AK, that's Alaska. I'm like, oh, man.
Oh, man.
But I tell you what, it was beautiful. I've actually gone back a couple of times.
Really? I hear it's
Yeah,
gorgeous.
It is beautiful.
Wow. That's so crazy. So you spent the 4 years over there. What were you doing as far
I was
as your job?
crash fire rescue.
So what does that mean?
That's basically the fire department and emergency medical services.
Okay.
My focus was on the flight line, on the aircraft, the F-15s, anything that we had up there that flew.
Okay.
So, we had to respond to all emergencies and be trained with all the weapon systems and all that stuff. The emergency crew also responded to car accidents and house fires and things like that
So
too. But
civil.
our focus was mostly on the aircraft.
And that's interesting that Corey, your son, is an EMS superstar.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a chip off the old block.
Yeah, yeah, he's good at it though. Yeah, I don't know if I was all that good at
You
it.
weren't good at it.
I don't know.
Were you doing music at that time?
Yeah, when I left for Alaska, I brought a guitar with me, and I started messing around with stuff up there more because I couldn't bring a piano with me.
Right,
you
right.
know. So, and I'd played around with guitar, so that was the thing. I moved into a barracks room, and you're not going to move a piano into a barracks room.
No.
So, started hacking with some guys, some other guys in the barracks, and just having fun.
Right.
I don't think the whole time I was there, I don't think I played a professional show. I wasn't
you
nearly
never
good
played
enough. It was just, just for fun.
Right. Right. And how do you think that shaped your music now? Do you think that had any influence on you?
Well, I think so, because a lot of those experiences up there, I cataloged, I journaled a lot.
Did you?
So and there was moments, and I remember being a kid and my mom sitting around a campfire playing guitar. Whenever there was something rough going on in life, that was her go-to. Pull the guitar out, sit around the fire, and play some songs. That's how you expressed how you felt.
Nice.
So, some of the crazy stuff that went on when I was up in Alaska, there were some hard times. There were some hard things to deal with, and that was my go-to. I pick up the guitar, and whether it's creating a song or just playing a song that fits whatever you're feeling at the time, And so that's always been the kind of thing. That's been a way to release your energy, or, maybe that's the way to cry. Maybe that's the way to laugh. That's always been how we did it,
Yeah. Speaking about crying, the song "High Early" is pretty intense. Like, I was listening to the record, and when that song came on, I was like, whoa. The lyrics are so powerful. Bloody knuckles,
Broken glass,
and throwing the bills in the trash. I mean, it's just like the perfect, really, really sad, impactful, real lyrics. Was how did that song come about?
Well,
is it a personal thing or something that you witnessed?
So there's a friend of mine. I had a girlfriend that was a little crazy. All right. All us musicians either have a truck or a van. So when it's time to move somebody out quick, we're the ones that get the phone call.
Give you the call.
So I got that phone call, and went and moved my buddy's stuff out into the truck.
Yeah.
Took it to my place, put it in the garage. Took him to a motel. But when he told me the story of how the day transpired, now, I mean, they were destined for doom as it was, in my opinion. But how the day transpired was basically this: he went to work in the morning. He came home about 2:00 in the afternoon, and she'd already started getting high and getting drunk. They had plans for later on that evening, but she started early.
Yeah.
And he was kind of making excuses for her, like, she just got too high too early. We might have been fine, but she got too high too early, and then she got crazy. And then he's telling me stories about stuff like broken glass and just throwing bills away and not paying any attention to the bills and stuff. And, that downward spiral that,
Right.
can often happen with somebody that's abusing drugs and alcohol. Right. So he's telling me this story, and I got back to my place and I couldn't sleep. So I just started writing the little things down that he said, and High Early.
Yeah.
That was the title just jumped out at me, High Early.
Who has played with you? So you have, I think you have mentioned, you have harp on it, you have saxophone, you've got some slide guitar, you've got a couple of players that have come and helped out the songs.
So in different places, like the slide guitar is Jeff DeBella's friend, Mario. I think it's Torres is his last name. Mario is from down in Nashville. So, we were looking for a flat steel kind of guy, and he's friends with him, and he asked him, he just on a whim said, do you mind to come up and spend an afternoon tracking up here, and I'll take you out to dinner or something.
That's awesome.
Just catch up on old times. Well, the guy said yes. Jeff called me up and he said he's on his way. Get into the studio.
It's great.
On Sunday or whatever day was. We actually did a lot of work there on Sundays.
Yeah.
So it ended up working out good. So we laid the stuff down, and that was fantastic.
How do the songs come about for you? I mean, obviously, like you hear something, it resonates for you. But what's your process of getting a song out?
Most of the time, I look at the old journals that I have, and if I'm journaling, which I do every day, either for 15 minutes in the morning or 15 minutes in the evening, or both. And if I'm just writing down my thoughts and something catches me, up a little squiggly line on the margins. And sometimes I go back to it, sometimes I don't. So when I feel like I've got like a guitar riff that I like, that's can't get it out of my head, that kind of thing. I figure if I can't get it out of my head, that might be worth pursuing. Then I'll take one of those journals and I'll find something that with the squiggly line alongside of it. And I'll go, okay, that's what I'm going to try to fit into this guitar riff. And that's usually my process. So there's piles. I've got stacks of, journals. So the next move is I got to have something that feels like it on the guitar.
And how long have you been doing it? How did that start for you?
I don't know. I just kind of has been doing it for so long. I've journaled forever, So
how did that idea come? I mean,
I guess it just made sense because, actually Jeff DeBella but I'd been doing this. He has a thing called title writing. So basically, you just write down a whole bunch of things that you think would be good song titles, whatever you think would be cool, just the titles, right? And you weed through those, and you go, okay, that's stupid. Okay, that's a little long. All right, that's a little weird, And you just cross them out until there's a couple left, and then you take the one, and then you start writing the things that you think about that means. What does that mean?
Right.
What is that? So that's one process, but I kind of had already been doing something similar, just in a way that's like I'm going through a whole journal and I'm looking for the squiggly lines. And until I find one, and then I go, all right, that feels like that. So my process is a little bit longer. Jeff's is a little more streamlined.
Right.
So I'd find it, and then if I had some sort of chord progression, my Tascam's got hundreds of chord progressions that
so you do that
don't have words to them. So I try to marry them up.
You do that musically as well. You kind of put guitar riffs down and record them, and just that's a cool guitar riff, and just put that away.
And like I said, usually if it sticks in your head, that's the one you pursue. If you wake up the next morning and you've forgotten it, move on to the next one.
That's great. That's great. It keeps everything flowing. Now, when you get a song, what's great about what you do is that you play solo or you play with a band. So do you ever kind of test out a song, or when it comes to stage, that's the song?
Oh, absolutely. As a matter of fact, some of my older material, and when TRB came to be, which TRB was basically put together to promote Long, Long Day, that release. And when I went into Modern Day Outlaw doing that, and we did the Bike Week shows and some other big shows with TRB to promote that album, it's amazing to me how when those old songs, the band gave them a new life. Because I didn't record those songs with a band. I recorded them with studio musicians, and so it was kind of amazing to see them grow into something that has an even bigger sound and more character. You know what I mean?
Now, TRB, that is the Ruffo brothers?
That's the Tim Ruffo band.
Oh, okay.
So Ruffo brothers was originally me and my brother Chris and Benny Fiacco. Actually, that was the original Ruffo brothers. And then an iteration of it for quite a while was my brother-in-law Chad Dean and Gene Hummel. That was the Ruffo brothers 2, basically.
Okay.
So
it's usually a 3-piece?
That was TRB was mostly 4-piece, but we had Jack Bastard on guitar for a long time, and then he joined up with another band up north, So we went for a couple of years as a 3-piece.
Okay. Another thing that I like about your music is that you're telling stories. You know, you're a great storyteller. And tell me that Katie Grace is a real story.
It's a real story. She's a real person.
Yes.
And
Tell us about the whole Katie Grace. This is a song of the modern day outlaw. Tell the story. Who's Katie Grace?
So Katie Grace was on tour, on a mini tour on her own. She had to be about 25 years old, you know. And I was out riding around on my Harley, and it was actually Father's Day. I stopped at this place just to get a burger and a beer, and there's this girl standing up there playing this big guitar. It was bigger than her. And wow, what's this? You know, and she was fantastic. And she was kind of an outlaw country kind of singer, you know, all her own stuff she'd written and just did it her way, you know. So I fell in love instantly. I'm like, all right, I'm staying for the show here. I'm going to meet this girl, have a beer with her, you know.
Yeah.
Which I did, you know, and I got to talk to her a little bit, and I bought her CD, and I went home and listened to it, and I was blown away by her lyrics. I'm just, holy bananas. So I had one of my shelf, you know, chord progressions, and I pulled it out, and I'm like, this is perfect. This is going to fit her because it's kind of upbeat. Mm-hmm. It's a little bit Americana, but it's definitely country, you know, which was kind of what she was.
Tell me about your sons both picking up after their dad and being musicians. Like, how does that feel, and you know, how did that come up? I mean, I know how it came about, but you know.
Well, there's definitely things that I wish that they didn't have to go through with, you know, there's tough stuff that you got to go through. But every time that you go through something tough, there's always a potential for a good song to come out of it.
That's true.
So, I mean, I'm glad in a way. I know that there's, being a musician is one thing, that's hard enough as it is. But then also being, you know, recording, the amount of time that goes into it and things, it's hard to have relationships, you know. I mean, you have to have a day job. I tell both of them, how you gonna pay for this?
Right.
You know,
it's a lot of money.
I like to pay the artists that work in a studio. I don't like them to come in and do it for free. I want them to get paid because obviously I want them to do good. I want them to feel like it's worth it for them to invest the time in something that's, you know, that's like a bass line on a song for me. You know, so I tell both of them. I said, you're gonna get into this. You got to have a day job. You got to have something that's going to help you out, you know. But then you also got to learn how to be up late at night and early in the morning as well, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, I'd rather they, you know, went into something that was easy money, but there's no such thing as that in the world anyway. You might as well do something you love.
Yeah, that is so true.
You know.
So when Nick started rapping, like, what was your reaction to that?
Marianne, you know, his mom, Marianne Ruffo, we about fell out of our chairs.
Because
where's this come from?
His rapping, it's interesting, is not, it's not like the norm. It's kind of like this stream of consciousness. Like when he was in the studio, we were talking about Wu-Tang and we were talking about MF Doom, like these stream of consciousness rappers. But then I listen to your lyrics and they're so concise and they make so much sense. And so then, you know, you're super lyrical in your music. So I was thinking, well, okay, of course, you know, that has inspired him to be, you know, taking words and that being like his main, you know, instrument.
Nick's got a talent for rapping that I never got, but I know one of the things I've thought about is if you listen to some of the old country guys like Jerry Reed, you know, and the way that they're spitting lyrics out, they're rhythmically singing. They're rapping.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the more and more I paid attention to it, and I've tried to pay attention to my diction when I'm singing a song that I wrote. I want the words to all come out. Well, you have to do that to rap. You have to do that because you don't get very much space to put them words in.
Sure.
So, and I can remember one of Nick's first mixtapes, I guess you would call it, right? So he's put his own beats together and this and that. I was out playing a show out somewhere in Western New York, and this guy had come in and he wanted to know if I was willing to play guitar, and his band, this artist that he's represented, that was a hip hop artist.
Okay.
But she needed a guitar player, and I told him, I said, I've got a lot going on, but he said, I'm going to email you some stuff. And I said, all right, that's cool. I'll check it out. But I said, as long as I have your attention here, I just got done loading my truck after the gig. We're standing on the sidewalk. I said, here, I got this disc. This is just a mixed thing that my son did, but it's all rap, and I don't know anything about rap. Could you check it out and maybe in that email let me know what you think?
Okay. Just get some feedback.
And this was Nick's first effort, right? So he emailed me the next day, and he said, your son's got some tremendous lyrics. I just can't make enough of them out. He's going too fast. He said, I gotta back it up and listen. Oh, that's what he said. Wow, that's wicked cool. Nobody's gonna want to do that. Nobody's gonna want to back it up and listen to it again.
Sure.
So I talked to Nick about that a little bit. And I said, yeah, the same thing happens in all genres of music. If you try to push too much into a phrase too fast, it gets convoluted, it gets distorted, it might even sound like what you're saying. So, yeah, I think that was a turning point also, because Nick really wanted to do it. He had some great lyrics. He's got piles and piles and piles of lyrics.
Just like his dad.
Believe. Sometimes he has a hard time picking. He's got all kinds of stuff.
That's really.
I used to call him the Velociraptor because it's all like,
that's awesome.
philosophy and rap. And
I think you need to copyright that really quickly because that's so cool. So, and then Corey is coming on. He's also playing acoustic guitar.
Yeah, he's actually started writing songs as well. So he's in the baby stages of that, but now he's got the itch. As soon as he started writing something, I went, wow, I like that. Now he's like, I'm all in. And I'm like, slow down. All right, take your time. Take your time. But yeah, I know he's doing well. He actually just did an open mic night at Atomic Tom's last weekend.
That's awesome.
Showcased 2 of his songs that he's working on and a couple of covers, I think, as well.
How does that make you feel as a dad, having your boys
Here we go.
follow in your footsteps?
Well, the cool thing for me is, throughout my entire musical career, one thing that I've been really good at is being a roadie. Not half bad sound guy either, but I'm no Dan Lord,
That's great. That is so funny. And speaking about good advice, the song "Told Ya."
Yeah.
That is a great tune about giving advice, and talk a little bit about that song.
Giving advice and taking it. So, Modern Day Outlaw was kind of a concept album in that some of the experiences in my life and other people's lives, I'm not going to completely throw myself under the bus when it comes to this. We've all had our issues with the fact that sometimes right and wrong isn't necessarily legal and illegal. Sometimes they don't go together. Sometimes illegal is still right.
That's still the right thing to do.
So a modern day outlaw is basically not like a criminal out there. He's just trying to feed his family. He's trying to support his family and living in a world where there's a whole bunch of different rules and scrutinies and things that make that even tougher and tougher.
Right.
And it's not just like the Old West. It is just a different landscape of the Old West. So everybody that's trying to feed their families. Without getting into too much detail, basically the album starts off talking about this modern day outlaw. And there's different experiences he goes through. In each song, it represents one of those. Told Ya is second to last song on the album, I believe, because that's when he's thinking about what his parents told him, what his teachers told him through the years, what people have told him through the years of experiences. And that's when he realizes he's getting cocky, he's getting arrogant, and you're going to get in. You're going to do something that's really wrong, and you're really going to get in trouble.
Right.
Which he does, throughout the course of his life. He does plenty, gets in plenty of trouble. Told Ya is his own voice in the back of his head, which is influenced by all of those other people, the preacher, the parents, the teacher. They're saying, told ya.
Yeah. Another song that has fantastic lyrics. Really love it.
Yeah, I think Nick covered what I was struggling to find the right solo section for.
Yeah,
Nick popped in a solo.
He raps in
a rap
right?
solo in it, yeah.
Yeah, it's great. It works so well.
You better listen, or you won't know what to do. Teacher told you about the rules. Your friends taught you how to get away, not get caught. Parents told you, better make up your mind. You gotta get moving, you're running out of time. Boss man told you, better not be late. Preacher said you get to church, kneel down and pray.